It is time for everybody's favorite segment, and it is called Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. I'm going to learn how to hit those notes, and then I'm going to play that live for you guys on one of these shows, and it's going to be hilarious. You're going to love it so much. But Dave Meltzer reports that at one point there was a plan to have Big Bill turn on Ricky Starks and make him a babyface, but that didn't end up happening. So Big Bill was going to be the babyface, not Ricky. And that's not happening because Ricky Starks ain't going to be there too much longer. Ethan Page, of course, showed up in NXT, and he is a friend of Cody's as well, man. Good thing. Thanks, Dave, for stooging this storyline that didn't happen. That was supposed to happen. That didn't end up happening. And shout out Ricky Starks, man. I can't wait till he's in NXT. Good old Meltzer. So shout out at PCAN01044. Pablo Canuck quotes Dave Meltzer and says, good old Meltzer. And here's Dave Meltzer saying, the AEW pay-per-view had much better matches than the WWE one this past week. So this is in reference to the King and Queen of the Ring and Double or Nothing. Dave goes on to say, and the WWE talent had it easier because they didn't have to follow Ospreay in match 3 and had more of a kids crowd. But you clearly don't actually read to say that. So because Dave is getting ratioed and clowned on for his dumb star ratings, which we're going to get into with Eric Bischoff, right? I got a clip of Bischoff talking. We're going to steal his bit. Oh, sorry. Oh, come on now, Eric. He's saying the matches are better. Okay, that's subjective, whatever. But Dave claims his star ratings are the objective reality of truth. And then he's just sitting here like just blowing Ospreay to death, like blowing Ospreay the way I blow Max Caster or this past NXT, right? And he's just like, they didn't have any match to follow, and they had a kids crowd. You mean the 40,000 people in Saudi Arabia? Like, who the was Double or Nothing in front of like 6,000 people or some shit? Like, what are you talking about? They had it easier. You mean women in Saudi Arabia had it easier after flying on that flight and then having to cover their whole bodies and hide from the public, and they had it easier? You mean those women had it easier in Saudi Arabia, Dave?
Dummy, yeah.
Dave is just nuts. He's nutso, man. And so here's at Crew Day Podcast. Shout them out, I guess. I'm not familiar. But they tweeted out, for those wondering why Dave Meltzer hates Nia Jax so much, he always scores her matches so low. It's because when he tried to downplay Roman's cancer, Nia tore his ass a new one. So we're going to circle back to that because I just want to show you guys, and we're going to talk about star ratings here. Here's Dave Meltzer's star ratings for the King and Queen of the Ring. Bianca and Jade versus Indy and Candice, he gave 0.75 star, 1 and 0.75 stars. He gave Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan 2.75. He gave Zayn and Gable and Reed 3.75. He gave Nia Jax versus Valkyrie 1.5. He gave Gunther and Orton 4.5 and 4.25, pardon me, and then Rhodes and Logan 4.25. Which is like, how do you judge these matches? Like, I just don't get how whatever. And he claims this is objective truth. No, I've rated matches I don't like better. But he always obscurely rates Nia Jax's matches obscurely low. Like, it's just oddly low. Like, dude, they're not that bad. And she's really doing great work. And that finish was great. It was like the biggest pop. There's like videos going on viral, semi-viral, I call it. Dude, if you get 3,000 views, that's semi-viral if you really boil it down. But, there's clips getting like, let's say 10s or 100,000 views where there's people reacting to that squash from Nia, and I put it over huge. Like, we watched it live, PWT Live Show. Like, Nia's doing great stick work. That finish was great too, and I mean, her matches have been good, and she gave more to Jade. We admit that, but that's Jade, So whatever, though. He doesn't think this way. He doesn't think the normal way. His brain's fucked up. He's just trying to blow Ospreay. So, but at least he gave these matches a lot, and I think that's Dave, though. I think he uses these stars to be like, no, I like Gunther and Orton and Rhodes and Logan because the internet likes that. It's like now he's grading it because he sees that his way, like the way he believed with the Ospreay and Omega and all that, it didn't work. And so he sees that. He can't ignore it, right? And so he's like, nah, dude, I'm going to rate these higher because I know the internet will be like, well, at least he gave these higher ratings, but I'm just going to bury Nia in all of this. And we're gonna talk more about Dave's star ratings with Eric Bischoff, but I want to just circle back to just a minute ago, we talked about this post here. Nia Jax shat all over Dave when Roman Reigns had cancer, and Dave was like, well, it's not serious leukemia. Like, just the biggest scumbag you could ever say. And so this is why this person brought this up. And yeah, it just dawned on me. I was like, this is true, man. He does rate her matches obscurely low. Now, she did hurt people in the past, and I get it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and like say Nia Jax the greatest worker of all time or anything. The greatest worker coming from a mark like me. Like, what does that even what does that even mean, right? But it's like, she's not doing moonsaults and shit, and that's what I said on the last show, right? Like, Dave just didn't like it because she didn't do a moonsault. But here's another layer of this. Like, I forgot about this. Here's Dave Meltzer on Roman Reigns' cancer, and this is what Nia responded, obviously Roman's cousin. And Dave giving her a 1.5. Like, to me, she had the best. That was such a great finish in the Nia Lyra match. And I'm not even a big Lyra fan. You guys know, if you listen to PWT, you know I'm not even a big fan of Lyra. But like, this really was, I don't know. So Dave, this is just how out of touch he is. This is what I'm trying to say. He just gets in his head and then he really focuses on it, really like ADD like, and I can respect that. That's why he's so good at like writing, and he cultivated his audience of just writing all the time and everything. That's like me. I'm just sitting here till all the wee hours of the morning pumping out videos and clips and shit. You know, I get it. God damn, man. It's just such an out of I just feel like he's old and out of touch, which is what he would project onto Cornette and other people, right? But either way, though, this is the Observer. This is Dave right here saying there was an NHL player who had the same thing, meaning cancer, as Roman Reigns had in 2007 season, who didn't miss one game. So because this guy had blood cancer, that he didn't miss one hockey game, that means Roman has blood cancer and he should wrestle every day, Dave. Like, you're a fucking idiot.
Dummy. Yeah.
It's so stupid. And like, shout out that dude who didn't miss a game. That, shout him out. Like, that's insane and good for him. And shout out Joey Diaz, suckers, just showed up on the UFC 302, got a big pop. He played every game while on this, and hockey is a pretty damn demanding sport. Yeah, we know, Dave. So everyone's different. He actually said the pill was oral chemotherapy, but I don't think it was. So Dave just speculating on what Roman lied, dude. It's not oral chemotherapy. Like, you're just a pig. That's just like weird. God damn, dude. It's like, who cares if this guy was able to tough out? It's different for everyone. Yeah, Dave, cancer's different for everyone. Like, so is the flu. What are we talking about, Dave? So is breaking a leg. It's all different for everyone. Life is different for everyone, dude. But it's like, don't undermine his or whatever. Don't even speculate on it. It's just weird and gross. I feel like that's a really weird and gross thing. And that's why I do this segment, guys, because we must remember this stuff. And I forgot about this too. This was like lockdown times. You know what I mean? Dave doing a what about for this situation. What the dude? Yeah.
Dummy. Yeah.
Nia Jax responds to Dave Meltzer and just flat out buries him. Dave Meltzer's a piece of shit. The fact that you make statements about people's health when you have zero knowledge about it is ridiculous. If you do have access to superstars' personal medical info, that is a huge violation of HIPAA, HIPAA, and I'm sure that's not the case. So shut your mouth. Know your role and shut your mouth. She quoted The Rock. So yeah, he's speculating on cancer and all this shit, and she just ripped into him. And then ever since, man, look it up. I mean, Dave's always kind of shit on her, though. Like, I think even before this, because she hurt some people, like, before Roman's cancer arose or whatever. So, and he did shit on her, if you kept an eye on him back then, way before the PWT days. But I don't know, man. I'm just glad she spoke out and buried his dumb ass back in the day. And that's why this show's the best, because we dig it up. I'd be searching for all of this because I love it. I get so much laughs out of it. Dave on AEW. And so to bring it back to the television negotiations, and this is in response to what we read earlier in the show. Meltzer said, what responds, and says, Dave on the AEW WBD negotiations. And here we have a clip. It's a minute long. I hope you all enjoy this. Here's Dave Meltzer, though, just talking about the deals, the TV rights, the deals. Is it going to be grouped together? Who knows? But Dave's the one throwing all these numbers around. I've covered it so much. 110 million, 125 million. Well, he's just talking out of his ass. And no matter what happens, it can't live up to the hype and the expectations Dave sets up for AEW. And that's my problem with it. Ultimately, it upsets me as a fan, as somebody who wants to see them grow. Either way, luckily, Awful isn't here to roast me. Here's Dave.
When WWE did not go on WBD, and there were talks, once that did not happen, I thought, okay, the worst case scenario, the most feared scenario for AEW did not happen. And so they're okay. Will they be super profitable? I don't know. There's so many moving parts.
Dave, you said they were going to be. So now you don't know. Oh, I don't know. Tony Khan.
This NBA thing, still has to get settled.
The NBA thing needs to get settled. No, Dave, it's settled. It's settled, right? Just because they lose NBA doesn't mean they're going to give AEW more money. That's stupid.
Talks are going on, but the money they're talking about is, it may not be exactly what Tony Khan wants, but I mean, to say, he's disappointed, it's a weird word.
So we covered this on the last show. Yeah, he's not disappointed. He's upset. Disappointed's a weird word. Is it, Dave? How is it a weird word? It's just a word, dude. We all know what it means. I don't know. Me and Awful were riffing on this forever, but this is like cope. This is when people, oh, Phil, you like to use the word cope too much. I know, but this is the definition of it. Like, oh, he wasn't upset. He wasn't disappointed. He was just like not happy about it. It's like, come on, man. What the fuck are you talking about? Now you're just doing semantical dumb shit. It's like, come on, dude.
I will just say that at the numbers that they started with, I would not be disappointed in those numbers. So I think that they're
so because Dave would not be disappointed in the numbers, Tony Khan, he would say Tony Khan wasn't disappointed, even though by all accord, Tony Khan's disappointed. So
I think they're okay. Are they going to be printing money? That I don't know.
Are they going to print money? Like, he just talks like this spurged out wrestling fan saying weird.
We will know that by, soon enough. We'll know.
And they are also allowing some contracts to lapse on there. And I saw Mark.
Yes.
We covered this on the last show, but the reason I wanted this clip for the show is because at the end, the guy stuffs in there and it got clipped right there, but he goes, and they're also letting contracts lapse, which like no one's really talking about. They're talking about how WWE's fumbling by letting all these contracts lapse. No, dude, AEW's doing the same thing right now. 'Tis the season of that because these rosters are inflated. Wrestling isn't a boom. If you just in general, it is. Okay. A large part of that is because of WWE, though. You can go wrestling in general is in a boom. Yes. WWE's in a boom. Absolutely. AEW's on a lull. Yes. All of those things can be true. All of those things can be true. So at the same time, so that's why that clip is important to me too. Cause it's like, no, both companies are letting all the contracts lapse. It's not just Becky Lynch. We're seeing, as Connor Hassler said on PWT, yeah, all these contracts are coming up from AEW and people aren't renewing them. Now, I jumped the gun before Mania and I was talking shit about Dustin and everything. Dustin Rhodes. Yeah, I was a dummy on all that. But hey, am I far off? It could be sooner than later. I'm sorry. Taker was talking about it and I was just, and I heard and fucking Conrad Thompson was talking about it a little bit and just not naming names, but I knew who he's talking about by proxy. But either way, man, I don't know. That's a good thing to point out. So Meltzer said what? Speaking of Dave's imagination and him just inventing things and stuffing them into whatever he's talking about, Dave is reporting on his own imagination in The Observer. And this is per at Meltzer said what? The GOAT for a scenario that never occurred and he created in his mind. So Dave says one match was added late to the show with Cargill and Belair defending the women's tag titles against Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. They did a minor angle the night before to set up the match, which was put on the pre-show, notably because they had seemed to give up on pre-show matches as of late. It was just a pre-show match and everyone pretty much knew who would win and that it was more enhancement than anything. Dude, he doesn't cover AEW like this. He doesn't go, yeah, this is a predictable dumbass match and nobody knew who would win, and or I mean everybody knew who would win and it was just a pre-show, whatever. He doesn't do that with whenever it's like AEW or 0 Hour. So stupid. But it did show a double standard, because if Tony Khan would have had a match on a Monday where the winning team gets a tag title match and then put a tag title match on the pay-per-view the next weekend with another team that never wins in the change of rule, he'd be excoriated for it. It's not even anything. Dave just pwned me right there. Oh, dummy, you don't know the word excoriated? It's not even anything to really care about, as it's a pre-show match. Dave, so then tell me the 0 Hour 6-man trios match ain't nothing to care about because it's a pre-show match. He's never done that. He goes, oh no, 4 stars to the trios Jay White match. Jay White, and it was phenomenal. And then he goes, oh, well, if Tony did this, the wick is shorter, the fuse is shorter. Tony has such bad faith with his bad booking that he can't get away with a little, oh, let's just stuff this in. WWE can get away with, oh, we're doing a Saudi show, let's stuff a women's match in. They can get away with that a week out because they've been delivering on all fronts. So yes, AEW, no, they don't get away with that shit as of right now. Now, if they give us like 5 years of stellar shit, okay, I'll shut the fuck up. Or like a year of just outstanding storytelling, okay, I'll shut the fuck up. But again, is it a double standard? Sure, that's the nature of human beings in life and everything. Everything's a double standard. Dave talks about Julia Gulia. Shout out Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore and The Wedding Singer. Julia, one of the greatest movies of all time. Julia had a steel plate put in her wrist, and they, at least in Japan, will Brian will be doing the gimmick. She has more knockout power because of the steel plate. So I guess Dave leaking some Japanese storylines that are coming, but yeah, shout out Julia, and I hope she recovers. Also, Brock Lesnar won't be returning to WWE until he's cleared by WWE legal. No, but Dave's saying that he won't until he's cleared by WWE's legal team. He won't be back. No shit. Or is it their legal? Does he actually know? I don't know if Dave actually knows. I don't know if Dave actually knows the truth about what he's saying here, but okay, Dave's claiming that. We all know he needs to be cleared, and we all know that they were obviously taking a break, if you will, from Brock Lesnar. Dave reports that WBD is reportedly looking to make a bid for the UFC when its contract with ESPN expires. Good for them. To me, UFC, I could see them going to Netflix too, if I got to be perfectly honest with you. If I'm just making a prediction, I'll just throw it out there and go, they're going to go to Netflix too. Good for Dave reporting this, I guess, if this is true. Yeah, I don't really have a thought on this, I guess. So sorry, I just spurred out. The latest on AEW's rights negotiations and Tony Khan's alleged disappointment. And this is Dave saying, the only real notes I can say is that from the AEW side, they claim there was not disappointment in the offer on the table at all. But obviously haven't signed it either. So there wasn't disappointment with the initial offer, but they didn't sign the initial offer, huh? The whole argument over the word disappointed is a semantic term. Dave, there's no argument. Guys, what did I say earlier? Hey, he's playing semantics. Now what is he doing? Oh, it's just a semantic term. And then the whole argument over the word disappointment. Dave, there's an argument in your head over the word disappointment. No one's arguing over the word disappointment, dude. Like, you're the one bringing this shit up, and now you're saying it's semantics. Yeah, you're the one saying, literally, dude, this is called projection, folks. I'm pointing it out in real time. Dave's saying, oh, it's just a semantic term. Dave, you're the one saying that. Well, no, he wasn't disappointed. He was just like, not pleased with you're the one doing that. So don't come here and tell other people that it's semantics. Like, whoa, we're fucking whoa. Oh man, I'm taking years off. Good thing I got a good head of hair, dude. I might start losing fucking follicles delivering this shit to you guys. You could say disappointed as inherent because they haven't signed, or you could say not disappointed because the first offer was a good starting point for negotiations. Dave. The first starting point was good, but then it went so it got worse, and then now it's not good, and then they're not disappointed, but it's like he stooges himself. He's so dumb. But you still haven't signed it, so it's really just a word. Exactly. It's really just a word, man. Oh man, it's the word disappointed. It's just like a word. It doesn't based on the number range. I'm speechless. Based on the number range, we've heard it. And shout out this dude coming out to Final Countdown. Shout out Daniel Bryan and Tony Khan, who's given whoever sings that song more money than anyone on planet Earth. Anyways, based on the number range we've heard, it would be a number I wouldn't call like disappointing at all, but obviously whatever. The figure they are at is less than they are wanting because no deal has been signed. This is called cope in real time. This is called projection and cope of the highest order. And I'm not talking edge on a big screen. I don't know. Is that a punch? I don't know, guys. I'm trying here. Dave goes on to talk about the WBD deal, and he says the figures being talked about between WBD and AEW are said to be considerably more than the estimated 110. So holy shit, hold on, guys, hold on. See, so earlier in the show, I should have caught this. So I look like the dummy. Earlier in the show, I was like, yeah, it's reported that it was about 110 million. No, it wasn't. They were just quoting Wrestling Observer. Dave's the one saying it was 110 million. So that's the number he fabricated before. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yes. This is so good. So Dave's the one going 110 million, 125 million. We've covered it. You guys, we covered it on the show. You can't miss it. He said it. And then, so this is the report from earlier in the show. And in the segment where it might have been earlier in the show, but it was like, the 110 million, it's more than that. No, that was Observer who said that. That was Dave. So he's just making it up. So it's fake, dude. They weren't. So let's guesstimate and say, let's estimate and say that they got offered like 100 to 110 million per year for Dynamite. No Ring of Honor, no pay-per-view, just what they have now, probably. The same shows. That's me if I had to guess. But Dave's now going, no, they got considerably more. Why? Because that's what your fantasy mark booking, Dave. Oh my God, dude. I love that I just caught this live on the show, live on the air. It's the best thing ever. So there's talk of figures between 50% and above, as much as nearly double the current number said to be already on the table. So Dave's saying that, hey man, no, they were offered way more than this number that I invented. But not only that, there's talks of between 50% and nearly double the current number said to be on the table, which is considerably more than the 110 million that I invented. Oh my God.
Emotional damage.
This is just word salad, bullshit, nonsense, gaga dummy talk. And let me tell you something. Let me talk to you. Yeah. Man, this is like when Paul Rudd and Ron Burgundy goes like, yeah, and 60% of the time it works 90% of the time or whatever. You guys will quote it in the chat, I'm sure, but he's just throwing shit out there, dude. This is so funny. I didn't even notice this before the show, dude. So it's all just based around his own made up number, and then he's just going, but there is talks from who? Cite who the talks are from. Who from WBD is saying that? Because we're hearing shit like 50 million or like a hundo. So like, I don't know, dude. That's just so funny to me. That's such an epic fail, and I love that so much. So Dave, speaking of like obviously dumb bullshit, Dave on AEW says they've also been making production cost cutting measures and cutbacks according to people within the company. Well, that's obvious. They try to look like WWE light, but yeah, they use like their regular Dynamite stage for like the pay-per-views. AEW used to at least try and make their sets look unique. They don't even do that anymore. It really sucks, man. It really does suck, but that's obvious. Why are they cutting costs? Why do they have the TV titles on old WWE superstars? Why is their whole show just trying to be based around superstars? Because now Tony's in the wrestling business, bro. And that's what, like, now you're tied up in that. So you have to be a guy who, There'll never be another Vince. Tony can't replicate Vince. He can't do what Vince ever did. There's no one psycho enough to be Vince. So what Tony has to do is hire other people to take on these multiple roles that Vince did on his own. That it's just that simple, because Tony can't do this all on his own. So AEW has become more and more reactionary to social media critics compared to examining data. This examining data, again, is anecdotal, bullshit, dumb, goofy, dumb talk that isn't real. I mean, there was also like AEW and Wrestling Observer bots exposed this week as well. I've covered it for months and months and months and months, guys. You already know. I repeat myself too goddamn much, but I have to in case there's anyone new listening. And there is each and every day, because the PWT universe is goated. Yeah. Always got to put you over. But to put myself over, I've been saying it. The bots, all these things that are on Tony's mind, the backdoor, Danielson, hello. What's he thinking about, dude? I'm so sorry. But it's on his mind because he does it. He works for big companies. He knows that people bot, they do it. So here's Dave's ratings for Double or Nothing. We compared them to the King and Queen of the Ring, but Dave Meltzer, his star ratings was Ospreay versus Roderick was 4.5 stars. Actually, let's circle back to this because that's Eric Bischoff's reaction that I want to close with, actually, because it was great. It was great. But yeah, Donald Trump again. Everyone tune out. No, I'm just kidding. We're done talking about this. I swear to God. So Dave Meltzer talks about the numbers he heard offered by Warner to AEW for a new deal are not disappointing. And I was told he wasn't disappointed at all. But at the same time, was it disappointed? I mean, we played the audio of that. He didn't sign it. So we've covered it ad nauseum. Sorry, guys. I bookmarked a million of them. I told you guys this day was going to be long, man. This is a long segment tonight, man. I told you guys. Dave's thoughts on AEW booking Strickland versus Ospreay at the Forbidden Door. So we talked about it earlier in the show, right? Dave says, I would not have done it this soon. Will is much hotter than Swerve. Is he, though? Is he? Is he? I don't know if that's even true, Dave. I don't know if anyone's hot in AEW right now. Will is a guy who should be champion, but don't feel the need to rush it. I would say the move to make is have Swerve win because Will doesn't have to be undefeated. This is what I think, guys. I don't think this is Dave like being critical of AEW's booking. I think this is him stooging it and laying out the narrative so that when they don't explain it on TV, all of Dave's weird fucking weirdo readers will go, yeah, this is the story, because he's implanting it, right? He's sowing the seeds here by saying, oh, yeah, Will's the guy and they don't need to rush it and it'll come later, because that is the right move. But Dave's like putting it over before it happens. You know what I mean? That's what I feel Dave is, because look at what he goes on to talk about. And this goes into my fantasy mark booking about Ospreay winning. I was like, if I was them, I'd have Ospreay like win everything, like the Owen Hart tournament, the international belt. He win that gauntlet match. He goes on, then he finally takes out Swerve, who's like unstoppable with this crazy big guy heel faction, and Ospreay's like the underdog coming, whatever, right? Like, and you just accolade him up. Like I was saying the same shit. Now look at what Dave's saying. Like he's bringing up the Owen and all this stuff. So anyways, he goes like, yeah, Will doesn't have to be undefeated. A guy like that can lose a match. Anyone can lose a match in AEW, dude. And so he says, I see Swerve beating him and then Ospreay winning and the Owen Hart Cup and then Ospreay winning at Wembley. Yeah, that's what I said too. Him losing at Wembley makes no sense. He could win the championship and defend it against the Owen Hart Cup winner, but I think it's better for him to win his first world title at Wembley. It's going to be a lot more memorable than winning it in New York for him and for the UK audience. Yeah, so that's just super obvious. It just sucks because Swerve is now just this over glaringly transitional guy, right? And so Dave talks about TNA. He says there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes in TNA that just started to break. Robert Evans, who is one of the key guys on the creative team, resigned this past week. Other key people have been let go as well. There's nothing on the schedule past these tapings in Tampa, etc. So Dave's going, this is a bad thing. Or they're planning shit literally with WWE, you fucking dumb fuck. And do you notice how Dave never has shit to say?
Dummy. Yeah.
Dude, I cover TNA more than Dave does. He never has shit to say about TNA, but now they're doing shit with WWE. And now he's got shit to say about WWE and TNA, pardon me, rather. Now that, you guys know what I mean? Are you guys picking up on these patterns? I'm picking up on these patterns with Dave. So I do this segment, you guys. He has nothing to say about TNA ever. Like, what did he say about Scott D'Amore? Like, nothing. He had no insight, nothing. Now he's got, there's no tapings and they're actually going under. He's trying to make it doom and gloom. He's just talking shit now because Jordan Gray showed up. Like, it's gross. Dave's a gross. He's a pig. He's a filthy pig. Dave, come on the show. I would love to talk to you. I'd love to Ole Anderson his ass. Anyways, so he goes on to talk about WWE. Speaking of which, the main event of NXT Battleground is expected to be Trick Williams versus Ethan Page for the NXT title. Are you kidding me, Dave?
Move! Dummy. Yeah.
Dave, no shit. Like, this is what people pay this guy for. So he can stooge who's going to debut in AEW and then tell them what happened on NXT because these people don't actually watch NXT because they just hate WWE and the Fed bad. That's what it is, folks. I'm telling you that right now. Oh, it's expected to be. How is this even written in your shit? Expected by who? Expected by everyone who watched the fucking show and who has 2 brain cells in their skull? Dave Meltzer, goddamn. So Dave gives the Nia Lyra match just 1.5 stars. We covered that and Donald Trump earlier. That's such a low point for the show. It's just I just start bumble. So silly. Either way, yeah, we covered that earlier. She just bodied Dave Meltzer for speculating on Roman's blood cancer. Like, that's just gross. But he goes on to talk more about NXT and says he questions the logic about the decision to break up NXT's Josh Briggs. Now, if you guys aren't paying attention, the Josh Briggs, Brooks Jensen, they're sort of WWE's kind of jacking the NXT. In NXT, Shawn Michaels is sort of jacking the Jack Perry New Japan AEW angle. They sort of are. He's like showing up at indies, holding signs up. He's like the scapegoat kind of guy, right? And these two guys, when I see them all together, I just don't see them. I see this guy working as a solo. I don't see them working as a unit, especially I see him with Fallon Henley, but Fallon Henley stands on her own all the time, or like consistently on NXT. And he says, how many times in WWE have you seen people break up and not one but both of them flounder? That happens all the time because very often they have this mentality, and maybe it will change without Vince, because Vince was a guy who liked to make changes for the sake of changes. I always think that changes are good when you have something better. Very often there's guys that really are limited. I don't know if Josh Briggs is, but yeah, he's kind of floundered. Fallon Henley is a heel, so it's different, at least, even though I think she's a more natural babyface. And I agree with that. Dave Meltzer, smart moment. Wah, 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 wah. And Jensen has just disappeared off the face of the earth. I knew it wasn't going to be good for him. Yeah, me neither. I'm okay with them. I think they should break Fallon and this dude off. I do. And I'm sorry for the other guy getting Marty Jannetty, but that's just the circle of life. Dave has a higher dementia percentage than all 15-year NFL vets put together. Damn, that is harsh, dude. Yeah, I mean, you just paid $10 to Jamie Earhart to just shit. Jamie Earhart's like, yo, I want to shit on Dave. I got $10. I'm going to put it on the table and go, Phil, let me just shit on Dave right now on PWT Live Show. Pretending, I just appreciate you for it. He's senile and he's out of touch, and that's why he projected all that shit on Jim Cornette. Fucking Dave was doing all that projection on Cornette. Oh, he's out of touch. Like, that's Dave. That's Dave who's out of touch. You know what I'm saying? So Dave speaks about Ridge Holland, and he buries Ridge Holland, dude. And Dave says, Ridge Holland has no charisma. I cannot believe a guy in WWE has no charisma, because that's all WWE is charisma. Oh my God. So hold on. I can't even find the words. All WWE is charisma. Dave, do you mean people being over as charisma? Because yes, everyone's over in WWE, and I can't believe someone in WWE has no charisma. What do you mean? There's been tons who don't, that they still give a shot to. People said Austin Aries had no charisma, and he fucking went to WWE and was getting over with New Day and shit. People said Daniel Bryan had no charisma. They had a whole WrestleMania around him. So, and I'm not the biggest Ridge Holland fan, but like, just to bury him and just be like, I'm surprised all WWE is charisma. So no good wrestling. There's no good storytelling. There's no good matches. There's no good characters. Dave, it's just gross at this point. Ladies and gents, I'm getting disgusted. I got to wrap this segment up soon. I'm not kidding. I'm getting grossed out. Okay, so he goes, he's got a nice body. He can wrestle decently. He's not a standout. Dave, not everyone's supposed to be a standout. Some people have to lose. Not everyone gets a world title. Not everyone gets to be king of the ring. Not everyone gets the Owen Hart tournament because this is great. There's a reason Rick Boogs was released, who had a really nice body and could wrestle decently, but Ridge Holland isn't. There's a reason for that, Dave Meltzer, but you're out of touch and you're fucking dumb and senile and you don't understand. You don't understand the difference between a Vince guy and a guy who's not a standout but is a solid hand and someone who's valuable to the roster. God damn it. So Dave Meltzer, and then we're going to go into Eric Bischoff here. Oh, come on, Eric. So Dave Meltzer's full star ratings for AEW Double or Nothing. And this segment's brought to you by, I can't plug their plugs, right? Like if Manscaped's going to pay me, I just said them. So there you go. But if they're going to pay me, I'll plug them, you know, but I don't want to say it if they're not going to anymore. You know what I mean? So Will Ospreay versus Roderick Strong. And I'm doing this as Conrad Thompson, I guess. So Will Ospreay versus Roderick Strong got 4.75 stars. And oh, come on, Eric. I thought it was close to Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat. I really do. And I know Ric Flair actually is my relative. In his last match, he had a heart attack. The Bang Bang Gang fought the Death Triangle for a 4-star match. Oh, come on, Eric. I thought that was a really good 4-star match. Tony Storm versus Serena Deeb, 3.5 stars. Like, this is what I mean. The Death Triangle and Bang Bang Gang, 4 stars. Like, what? No one remembers any of that match. Cassidy versus Trent, 3.75. Jericho versus Hook versus Shibata, 2.25. Moxley versus Takeshita, 4.25. Copeland. And hey, guys, why do you care about Dave Meltzer's stars? Because he claims that they're objective truth. He does. We covered it on the show. He claims they're objective truth, not me. I used to say the same Cope. Oh, it's just his. Oh, come on now, Eric. It's just his subjective opinion. I read the Observer as if it's opinion. No, it's not. It's he says it. No, I've given matches I don't like stars. That's not true. It's the opinion of what the match is. That's what Dave claims. So anyways, Malachi and Edge, where he broke his tibia, 4.25. Mercedes Willow, 4.5. 4.5. The greatest women's match of all time. Willow versus... Like, I like that match. Hairline buried it. I didn't think it was 4.5, though. Like, what happened to giving a 3 a solid match? Like, hey, 3 is a really exceptional match. Right, guys? Like, if someone said judge yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 of like looks or something, right? You say 5 is like average. So then really be objective about yourself. Like, okay, 6 or 7 is like really good. You know what I mean? If you're like at 8, 9, 10, that's like, well, you know? So if we're going on a scale of 5, what Dave is doing, it's like, so that women's match was like the greatest of all time, like better than we're gonna get into it, don't worry, because Eric Bischoff, we're still in 83 weeks of shit here. You know, we cover a lot of the same stuff they cover on that show, and I'm a big fan of that show, so I don't like to step on their shit, and I don't like play a shit ton of Eric on here, like full-on Conrad Eric bits, but we're gonna this show because I can't not, you know, it was too on point. I can't even add more than Eric did, you know. Go watch 83 Weeks, Wise Choices, great show, named after Tony Khan's meltdowns. But anyways, though, we're covering Dave's star ratings. My brain scrambled. Swerve Strickland versus Christian Cage, 4.25. So this Swerve Christian match was as good as the Moxley Takeshita match, was as good as like more or less the Bang Bang Death Triangle match. Like, that can't be true. You know, like, that cannot be true, objectively speaking. Sorry. The Elite versus Anarchy in the Arena, 4.5. That was the worst put together Anarchy in the Arena match of all the Anarchy in the Arenas up till date. That one was the worst Anarchy in the Arena in my opinion, as an AEW fan. That one was the worst, least interesting, shittiest, cheesiest Anarchy of all of them. And Matt Hardy teleported in an ice bucket in one of them. But I'm just being true to my truth. My subjective opinion, pardon me. This one was the worst. Objectively speaking, I think it was bad. But again, wrestling is subjective as far as Dave giving it a 4.5. Subjectively to me, that was like the worst Anarchy in the Arena. None of them have even been a 4. Maybe one. I don't think any of them have even been a 4 in my book. So he gave it a 4.5. Okay. We're going to head on over to their channel, guys, like full on. Here's Eric Bischoff, though, and he gets like asked about this. So we're going to play this. 83 weeks. We love you. Please don't Don Stevens me. I'm going to try and talk. Why do you pause so much? I have to. 83 weeks. Conrad Thompson, if you guys are listening, Eric Bischoff, don't pull me. I just want to play you talking for a while because You're spitting game here. So they discuss the star ratings. Like, and listen, they do way better than I ever could. Like, whoever, I think his name's Super Dave or whatever, Super Steve or some shit, who works for Eric here, the producer, he dug up like a myriad of matches with star ratings lower than the ones Dave gave, like Mercedes and Willow. You know what I mean? So we're about to listen to this. Shit's hilarious. Now, come on, Eric.
Ridiculously vociferously.
So according to Dave Meltzer, Willow Nightingale versus Mercedes Moné at Double or Nothing was equal to, and then he lists the matches that I'm about to list. But Dave Meltzer ranked their match at Double or Nothing 4.5 stars. Now that's higher than matches from this following list: Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat, WrestleMania 3; Bret Hart, Davey Boy Smith, SummerSlam 92; Bret Hart.
Like, look at Eric's reactions, dude. Like, this is how, when I was watching this, I was fucking popping. I was like, I can't believe this. I tried to let it play, guys. I'm trying not to, but I don't want to get Don Stevens here. And man, I would love to get Eric Bischoff on this show one day. That's a goal. So let's put that out into the PWT universe. Eric Bischoff one day. Oh, come on now, Eric, and I'll do my Conrad to him and I'll see what he thinks. But dude, just listen to the matches being listed. Chad, I know you're gonna blow up over this. Like, just even think about like Sean. I don't know if he brought it up yet, but like Sean Razor Ramon is one of the greatest matches in the history of just pro wrestling in general. Invented a whole match. If that doesn't get you like an extra half a star for just like the ladder match, like, obviously, yes, I know that we could break down the history. Bret Hart brought the ladder match. I'm Canadian, bro. Don't worry. I know all about the Stampede and everything, and Stampede Wrestling and all that. And I grew up, I have old knuckle twisters who were around Stuart's Dungeon back in the day in my family as well. It's just like a match like the first ever big ladder match or whatever. Some of these matches, like, I don't even need to, you guys know, right? And Eric's face tells it all. He's just laughing like, how the fuck do you have the first ever ladder match that gets less stars than, and like what that match was? We still compare every ladder match to that ladder match to this day, right? So anyways, Eric keeps reacting.
Owen Hart, WrestleMania 10; Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, WrestleMania 3; Bret Hart, Davey Boy Smith, SummerSlam 92; Bret Hart, Owen Hart, WrestleMania 10; Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, WrestleMania 10; Shawn Michaels versus Mankind, Mind Games 96.
A sleeper, Mind Games 96, Michaels Mankind, a sleeper match. Wasn't really over with me when I was young either, way back then either. You go back and watch it, you're like, yeah, it was a great match, but at the time, it didn't resonate. Weird he brought it up, but Mick and Sean, two of the goats,
Steve Austin versus Bret Hart, Survivor Series 96.
The fucking Austin and Bret aren't as good as Willow and Moné. What do I say, guys? I don't even know what to say at that point. What do you say? Look at Eric's face. It just encapsulates. It's just laughable.
Steve Austin versus Bret Hart, WrestleMania 13. Rock versus Stone Cold, WrestleMania 17.
Oh my God.
Randy Orton versus Mick Foley, Backlash 2004. Kurt Angle, Olympic gold medalist, versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 21.
Dude, Kurt versus Shawn is such a good fucking match, dude. Oh my God. Oh my God. Some of these like, we could sit here and do a whole podcast just talking about the matches this guy's listing and marking out over them. I'm sure we could. Just the fact that we couldn't did we even spend 20 minutes talking about Mercedes versus Willow? I don't think so, man. So this is what I mean. And it's not like recency bias, because recency bias is typically people putting things over more than it should be, not being like, oh, this is shittier because it's more recent. Usually people give recency bias, goes the other way. So to me, I look back on all those matches that are being named and it's just laughable. Like, look at Eric.
Oh, whoa.
Wait, you're going to love this one. Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, WrestleMania 25.
Okay, now I'm about, guys, I'm ending the stream. No, see, but like, you guys, come on, fucking Taker and Shawn at at Mania, dude. That was like the greatest match of all time. This is how you know Dave stars, and which Dave claims are objective truth. He has no basis in reality. There's no reality in what he's saying. There's no like metric. There's no actual. He just goes with what he likes or what he thinks he should say is good. And at the time, he fast forwards through matches. He talks about it. Dave's a fucking idiot, man.
But you're gonna love this one. Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, WrestleMania 25. Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, WrestleMania 26. Triple H versus Undertaker, WrestleMania 27. CM Punk versus Undertaker. Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair, and the list goes on and on.
Oh my God.
Whatever you say, Dave, this is why no one takes this goof seriously.
I am
Get him, Uncle E. Get him.
Mr. Silva, aka Super Dave. Have you ever known me to be speechless?
Never.
Six freaking.
This is what I'm saying, man. Do y'all know me? I do 6.5 hour live streams. We've been going 3:30, bro. Do you ever know me to be speechless? I get drunk as shit and I'm not speechless on this live stream. And it's like, when Dave say, I'm just sitting there thinking about the man, like, really, Austin and Brad isn't as good as Willow. And it's not an indictment of Willow and Mercedes. They're tremendous performers. It's an indictment of Dave Meltzer and this weird bubble.
Years we've been working together. Hundreds, 6 years. We probably have 600 hours of content we've done together.
At least.
And I don't think I've ever been speechless.
Well,
I am now.
I believe
And that's
Mr.
what I
Meltzer.
mean. I mean, that's Dave is. Well, let's play this. Let's show up this next. This sums it up.
Sum it up for us, Uncle E.
This Dave Meltzer post.
Let's read it before he reads it, and for transformative purposes. I think that if fans on all sides don't hate you, you actually are horribly biased, because the hardcore lunatics on each side are so biased they can't see straight. Dave, you're the hardcore lunatic who's so biased who can't fucking see straight. And Dave's going, if fans on all sides don't hate you, you actually are horribly biased. No, Dave, you're deluded. No, it's not even that you can't be hated. It's not that. I'm hated. Anyone who puts themselves out there are hated. It's just that you're the one you're projecting, because you're so horribly biased that you project onto anyone who's critical of you is just so horribly biased. Chat, I know you follow what I'm saying here. He thinks that fans on all sides, they need to hate you or else they're just being biased. No, Dave, it's because fans on all sides hate you because you're biased and you're a fucking idiot.
I think that if fans on all sides don't hate you, you actually are horribly biased, because the hardcore lunatics on each side are so biased they can't see straight. Dave, I think seeing straight is kind of the issue here. I mean, I get it, right? It's your buddies over at AEW. I mean, it's Willow, and she's an emotional favorite, right? We want to see her do well. She's young, she's developing, she's got great charisma. We're kind of cheering for her because, let's face it, she's the underdog. She's in it with Mercedes. I get it. But that
Eric doesn't know what to do right now. Me neither. You know what I mean? 21 is one of my favorite pay-per-views of all time. The nostalgia, absolutely. That's one of the best runs ever. There was like 17 through like 21, 22. More podcasts have to start making this a part of their weekly segments. The more people expose this. Yeah, I don't want it to go away, Derek, because if it went away tomorrow, do you know what happened? I'd just dig up old Dave shit and make fun of him. In hindsight. Yeah, no, that's what PWT is for. I've had other shows reach out to me and go, you guys would be surprised who I've had people reach out to me and go, yo, like bigger shows than mine, and they're like, you're doing a good job covering Dave. Alfred as well. Like he writes for Forbes. He's like, I love how you cover Dave and just how you like compartmentalize it all and just I don't know. I'm just doing my thing. I'm just having fun talking about what I enjoy, pro wrestling, and hanging out with the PWT universe. Yeah.
That match was, at best, not that embarrassing.
It was not that embarrassing. It wasn't that embarrassing. See, him and Hairline feel strongly against it. I don't feel this. I like the match personally. I thought it was smart how Mercedes was doing the little lucha, let me bounce off the rope and work the rope and use my speed and agility and little arm drags and shit, and use like Willow's momentum against her. I thought that was the psychology going into it. Here, let's hear what Eric has to say.
That's it. That's what that match was. It just wasn't that embarrassing. It wasn't bad. Well, no, it was. Technically.
Dude, he's saying it was bad, and then he's going, it wasn't that embarrassing, implying it was embarrassing to some degree.
Speaking, it was sloppy. Willow, lack of experience, not talent or ability or potential, lack of experience, was trying to do things she wasn't capable of doing well yet.
That's because of Mercedes and Tony Khan allowing that to go down there, and nobody going there and saying, okay, this is monster. This is like a monster versus speedster. We're gonna work your leg, or what did Mercedes hurt her leg, right? We're gonna work your leg over. They did a bit of that, but it's like that's really like the focal point and da 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 da. No one did any of that. You know what I mean? So I get where Eric's coming from, but at the same token, I give it a bit of, I don't know. Maybe I'm biased. God damn it.
And it came off to be very awkward. Mercedes looked like she was having a match all by herself sometimes, and it looked good. She looked crisp. She had a lot of athleticism. Which clearly is the only thing that appeals to you, Dave, because the match itself was okay. And to see that match and then rate it more favorably, not that your ratings make any sense to me at all anyway, but this is another obvious reason why I feel that way, to suggest that that match was somehow better than that laundry list of classic matches that will go down in history.
Exactly. Like some of those are just based on the build and the story alone. See, Dave puts nothing on, like, if you're over, you can do less shit. Like, I don't know. We talk about it all the time, guys, but Eric's just spitting facts. I don't want to pause it either.
And no one will remember Mercedes and Willow by this time next week. Just what the fuck, Dave?
Yeah, what the fuck, Dave?
You wonder why there's tribalism, because you go to such an obvious fucking length to cover AEW's ass because you're so emotionally invested and you want AEW to succeed, not because you just want something else to write about, because if Tony succeeds, then you will have been proven right after all these decades of being proven wrong.
Oh my God. Where is it on my... Here we go. He's dropping bombs, dude.
It's your once-in-a-lifetime shot to get it right. And guess what? You won't. And you know it. But being so obvious and transparent is to make statements like that and then wonder why people are ripping you to shreds. And
yeah,
laughing.
Dude. Like, you wonder why I play the flutes and do the dumb moment of the week. You wonder why? It's what Eric's spitting right here, folks. It's what he's spitting right here, folks. This is why I goddamn do it. It's just hilarious, and I love Eric, and I hope one day I could grow up to be like Uncle E. I'm obviously kidding, guys, but it's for real though. Like, it's a guy to aspire to be. There's a lot of people online who try and clown him. Old podcaster, man, you got a multi-million-dollar home out in fucking Wyoming somewhere where you go and outlook the mountains and the lake, and you just get to, like, that's life, bro. You got a hot ass wife and you're just chilling. That's life, bro. You know what I mean? Like, he did it. He did the damn thing. He's best friend's Hulk Hogan. None of us can say that. None of these fucking marks can say that. Dave Meltzer wishes his best friend was Hulk Hogan. Do you know what I mean, dude? That's the difference.
Laughing at you, and you're all these decades of being proven wrong. It's your once-in-a-lifetime shot to get it right. And guess what? You won't. And you know it. But being so obvious and transparent is to make statements like that and then wonder why people are ripping you to shreds and laughing at you, and you're losing credibility every time you inhale and exhale. You lose just a little bit more credibility.
Could you guys imagine Eric Bischoff, Uncle Easy-E on a Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week? Oh my God. That would be incredible.
Just don't try so hard. Do what you do best, Dave. Cover the history. Tell us who, what, where, when. But stay away from the business analysis. Because you're so fucking wrong. But yet the harder you try to defend, the more people find not only you, but AEW to be a joke. So lay off. You might be giving them a helping hand. You never know. All right, let's do a couple more questions.
I love that, man. Air horns for EB. Eric Bischoff is the man. I absolutely love that so much. And guys, with that was Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week.